Hello, my name is Greg Massi, and this is episode 17 of The Color of Air, a podcast about the musical journey. So welcome back. I hope you're all doing wonderful. We've got a great episode for you here today, but first, the plugs. www.colorofair.com, facebook.com/colorofairpodcast, at The Color of Air on Twitter, colorofairpodcast@gmail.com for any questions or comments or anything, really. And also iTunes, Stitcher. You can find us on these websites, and you can subscribe, and you can rate, and you can review us on these websites. And I recommend it highly. Please do that so that we can, build up a little bit more of a fan base, a following, something concrete that I can track and, to show people how well this podcast is doing, So I hope everybody enjoyed the episode last week with Catherine Capozzi. It was definitely a fun interview for me. And this week we're going back into the local scene, moving away from Boston for the time being into Worcester. Ever since I've been involved in bands, there always was kind of a separation, of the Boston scene and the Worcester scene. The Boston scene always, in the early 2000s, always seemed to me to be more geared toward the indie rock kind of crowd, whereas the Worcester scene was pretty squarely metal and hardcore. And that's, changed a lot over the years, and now we have this kind of cool melting pot where, a lot of Massachusetts bands are playing both areas and, trying to develop fan bases in both areas. And, and ever since I live closer to Worcester than I do to Boston now. And, I love it. I've met a lot of cool people in the Worcester scene, the Worcester metal scene. And two of the people who I've recently come to know a little bit have been Krista Van Guilder and Christopher Drzal of Second Grave, the two guitar players, songwriters. Krista's the singer. Second Grave, came to my attention, first because I think we, again, we're in the same scene. We have a lot of the same friends, and I just started hearing people talking about them, and I've bought their album, went to go see them live, and they are an amazing local metal band. They bring a lot to the table. They're excellent musicians. Chuck, the drummer, is awesome. Their original bassist, David Geen, was also really, really cool. He's since left, and they have a new bass player named Mourning, who I saw when they played in Worcester last month, and she definitely brings a lot to the band as well. So it's a band of really cool local talented musicians doing kind of, Sabbathy, Maidenish, kind of doom rock metal, but pretty varied. A lot of different influences, and and I've just been a huge fan ever since I started, listening to them. So it was a no-brainer to get them here on the podcast, to spotlight some local bands, to introduce all of y'all to again, some pretty cool musicians you may not have heard from. So before we get into that, though, speaking of the Worcester scene, I should also mention I will be doing 2 cover sets this year at the at Ralph's Rock and Roll Diner. Chris Farmeri, who puts together the Metal Thursday nights there, has crafted a 3-night tribute band extravaganza. Thursday, October 30th, Friday, October 31st, and Saturday, November 1st. There's going to be a total, I think, of 14 tribute acts assembled just for these shows. And yours truly will be playing on Thursday night, doing the Rainbow tribute. And then on Saturday night, doing the Megadeth tribute. So any of you who are in the Worcester area or the Boston area or anywhere close by should come and check it out. It should be a fun time. But enough about that. Let's go into the interview with Second Grave. But first, some music. This is the opening track off their most recent release, which was a 7-inch or 10-inch. I think it was 10-inch. I'm sorry, I'm bad at vinyl. But it was a 2-song vinyl single. Well, not single, sorry. It was a 2-song vinyl release they put out called Antithesis. And it had the song, and this is the first song off that, and it's called Morning Light.
Hold our heads high. good? Just like so that's kind of
I-
aiming that way. Don't touch it because this will fall. So just
You're
like,
fine. I actually heard you.
good.
I can hear
Yeah,
everybody
you're good.
fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Everybody's
Okay.
in stereo, which is a very important concern
Yeah.
with
No
me.
phase bullshit.
No. Well, I'm not. I can't vouch for
You know
that.
Right on, whatever.
I
works.
wonder. I am going to move this just a little bit because I feel like I have to.
Oh, that's fine.
Talk this way, and
Yeah, you can move it a little bit.
always
The
look
mics are
at
pretty
everybody.
cranked up too.
And you'll
So
be
Okay.
looking at him.
Yeah, because when I'm answering, I'll be looking.
well, I mean, that's assuming I have questions, which I don't. I didn't really do much research other than listening to your records on the way over here.
This is fine. We, as you can
We
tell,
like to
we have plenty to say.
It's
About
it's
everything.
Not about the yard. It's got to be about the band, all right?
You can talk about the yard.
No, well, unless if it relates. If it relates.
Well, if you talk about the yard and it becomes
Playing
the
guitar
highest
is
rated
like-
podcast, then I'll know.
Right.
I need to switch the focus. Lawns and low maintenance care.
Fucking squirrels.
Well, the most important thing I can recommend as a homeowner is: do you have a snowblower?
Yes, we bought.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Like an
Yeah.
industrial strength.
Yeah.
Dude, I started putting
Yeah.
band stickers on that thing from day one.
You did?
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You didn't notice?
No.
Because it looked awesome. That's why.
Okay. Yes, we bought a lawnmower.
using it.
I mean,
You
we bought a
did.
lawnmower.
Get the hell
Good.
out of
I'm
here.
still
Whatever.
fixated on
Yeah,
lawnmowers. Yes,
'cause
we bought a
diesel
snowblower.
one.
Yeah.
Good, because we
Yeah.
bought when we first moved in, like I bought like I just bought this cheap electric thing because we couldn't find any snowblowers in the middle of winter. Of course.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then it fell apart. And
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. And so
Yeah.
we actually finally sprung for a real
Yeah, we-
powerful.
I
We
think
got a Troy build.
I think we got a
I
good
think that's
one.
what we have.
Brand new.
It's
Yeah.
the
fucking
second
ready to
model
go.
up. It was like we got it
It's a
on the
gem.
tax-free
Really?
week. We bought it on the
Private
tax-free weekend, so it was like it was normally like $8.99, but and then I had a coupon for 10% off. So it was at
That's
Lowe's.
pretty
It was like
badass,
$800. Actually, it was $800. It was $800 for that and the leaf blower. The leaf blower is electric, but the Troy built is the gas one, and it's got the hand warmers and stuff.
No, they're cheap too. Hey, it's working. Whatever. Black and Decker.
Okay,
So we've been recording for about like a minute and a half. So we got all of that.
awesome.
That's the intro to the podcast. Lawn care.
You know what? It's all about the
Yard
It's all
care
about
was
the
second grade.
coupons and tax-free weekend.
Well, graves have to be balanced with the pH as well. You can't have it too acidic. You can't have it too alkaline.
Well, thank you for having me in your home to
Yeah, man.
do the interview. I do the introduction separate, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna be like, so sitting with me here.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna assume that people will be able to distinguish your voices.
Okay.
You know what? I kind of like that. I listen to Mark Maron, and he kind of does it. He has this whole
Yeah. Mark Maron's like a pretty big influence on what I do. Yeah.
He does this whole lead up, and he's like, boom, here it is.
I feel like
That's
this is
cool.
falling.
Yeah. Tighten
I did.
it up. It's a mic stand, everybody.
Theater of the mind.
There you go. She's got a series of pulleys and cranks. That's not going to get any tighter than that. It's not going to fall.
It is.
Wait, hold on. There's one thing. I have an idea. Hold on.
Hang on. I love it.
Best intro ever. I'll just do this so that way it's not as heavy.
Oh,
Like I said, balance.
okay.
But yes.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, Mark Maron's was a big, thing. Except I don't know if I'm going to get as self-deprecating and as existential as his intros do.
He makes me feel good about myself.
He does.
Because I can relate, but you know what? I'm like, damn, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, I just love how every episode he's like, let me give you the status of my relationships. And
You know what was really cool? A couple of weeks ago, Kirk from Crowbar or whatever. I'm friends with him or whatever, but I don't know if he pays attention to whoever.
On
but,
Facebook.
He responds to a lot of our friends, and I just said I can really relate with him with Mark Maron on a lot of issues, and not issues, but just everything. How he approaches things. and he totally responded. I was like, what? And he said, yeah, I met him a couple of weeks ago, and he was like the coolest cat and whatever, and he just kind of, just had this existential view on life. And I'm like, yeah, I expect that. And I'm like, dude, Kurt from Crowbar, I just responded to my thing. And we're talking about Mark Maron. Maybe that's fucking cool. So that was my thing. Yeah.
First name drop of the episode.
Why not?
By the way, just,
Why not?
Chris knows Kurt from Crowbar. No, that's cool though. Yeah. I don't have any. Like, my goal is to get to the point where I could like talk, be like, oh yeah, I had Bruce Dickinson on the podcast. Yeah, no big deal. I don't think that'll ever happen. But all right. So, well, the first question. All right, where did you guys get started? Because you guys have been in bands for a little while, right?
Long time. Now
you don't have to date yourself.
I'm not going to give any dates.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys do the math. So I've actually been playing guitar since I was about 12 years old. And my mom played guitar. She played acoustic and sings like folky type stuff, and tried to teach me a little bit when I was like 8. But, I've been working on the railroad, only, go so far before I was like, this is boring, and I wasn't interested. And then I remember being 12 or just about turning 12. And I had a friend, and she had an older brother who played guitar. And I was sleeping over her house one night, and Headbangers Ball was on. We were watching Headbangers Ball on Saturday night, and she fell asleep, and her brother stayed awake, and we just like talked all night long about bands and music, and he just kept talking about like what it was like to play guitar. And he was about 15, a couple of years older than me, and he just spoke so emotionally about his connection with this instrument that I was like, I have to go get a guitar. I have to start playing. So I tried to convince my parents that this is what I was going to do next. And my parents, they always were very good about putting me in whatever I wanted to do, ballet and jazz and gymnastics. And I would last a month at everything. And then I was like, I'm over this. Not interested anymore. So they figured the guitar was just going to be the same thing. So I had to work all summer long, save up money from a babysitting job so I could buy a little Sears Special electric guitar and this crappy little amp. And I couldn't, when I got it, I was so excited, but I couldn't figure out how to get that distorted sound because it was really clean.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about, gear. My parents were of no help. But they agreed to at least give me lessons. So it just started from there and just kept playing, started playing in bands with the friends throughout high school. And then when I got into college, that's when things got a little bit more serious. So I had formed Warhorse, was original founding member of Warhorse, formed in my parents' basement in Shirley, Massachusetts, a long time ago. You guys will do the math for that. But it was me, Jerry, and Mike, and that just led to lots of other projects as well. So Lacubro later on, Obsidian Halo with Chris, who's also in Second Grave here sitting next to me. And yeah.
Now, was that your first band together with the two of you?
Obsidian Halo was the first band.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. We actually met when I was in Warhorse, but never played together. Weren't sure how that was going to work out. Like, can you work in a band? Can you be in a band with somebody that you're dating? How is that? What are the dynamics of that? But we figured we'd give it a shot in Obsidian Halo, and we write really well together. We feed off of each other's style. But as we are, in a relationship too, we're passionate people. Sometimes you have to learn to put your feelings aside about other things and, get along for the sake of the rest of the band. So we apologize to all band members, current and previous.
I think they realize the end result is worth whatever it takes.
Well, yeah, does that mean, you're in the middle of the rehearsal and you're like, look, I asked you to take out the trash last night. What the hell?
Well, it's not that black and white. It's more of like a seedling kind of thing. So we'll get there. And if we have a little bicker somehow, I'm sure people can relate, it will kind of seed it. And then like later on, somebody will be like, boom, and then boom. And then someone in band practice will talk about, like a song, a part of a song, and then boom, and it's just a trigger at that point. So yeah, I mean that's it's, but I feel like I have a black belt in this at this point. So it's all it's all about kind of that control, and kudos to Chuck and Dave and Maureen. Maureen, she hasn't seen it so much, but Chuck and Dave were kind of bros, like, so it kind of like, they're like, oh man, look at these guys, they're the cause of everything. And we're like, you guys are dramatic too, get the fuck out of here, that kind of thing. But I will temper that. I will make sure it doesn't get there, because this is important. It's important. It's not about that. And while some of that passion may be what initiates that creation, you can't let it control the conversation.
Right. Well, also let me interject and say happy anniversary, because I just saw that you just celebrated an anniversary.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Won't say the years, but
somewhere between 1 and 100.
All right. So then, so how did Second Grave come about? Like, because you were in Obsidian Halo, and then that kind of just went away, and.
Yeah, Obsidian Halo was it was like a supernova. It actually happened right on the tails of Lacubro. Lacubro had been going for several years, and we had gone through a few member changes, and our drummer had said, he was expecting his first child, and so he just didn't think he could commit to the band anymore. So we had, Heath, the bass player, and I had decided to keep it going. And then after we tried out a couple of people, Heath just honestly said, I just really want to do this anymore. And said, okay, well, fine. If it's just me, there's no sense in keeping it going, so I'll do something else. So I reached out, asked him if he wanted to play, and we found a drummer and brought down a bass player, and it just happened. But it happened really fast. We started writing really fast. The band came together really fast. Before we knew it, we were playing shows, and we weren't really ready. And then we were playing. Our bass player was doing all the booking, and he was booking shows constantly. So it was almost every weekend we'd be playing. We were practicing 3 nights a week, and after a while, you just you're trying to hold down a full-time job that enables you to be able to do, band stuff. And it got to be so much. And we just were like, okay, we can't do this anymore. It was an aggressive style of music, and which was great. We really enjoyed being in the band, but it just got to be too much. And so that sort of, we just called it quits on that. So we took a break for several years, and just, life happens and stuff. And you get burnt out every once in a while, on stuff. And being in a band it's a difficult thing, because at first it's great. You're making all this music, and you're in this honeymoon phase. Everyone's getting along and things are great. But the true testament is what happens, after the first 6 months. Can you keep it going? And personalities get in the way, and, you start hating your bass player or your drummer, or, and that starts clashing, and you start, nitpicking at each other, and things are just pissing you off. And, can you keep writing? How are you, writing
and
together?
She said bass player and drummer only because she hates me all the time, guys. Calm down. I'm just going to put that in there. Go on.
So it's
Insurance policy.
Okay, good. So it's a really difficult thing. So we just got burnt out, and both of us said, we're done playing in bands. We're done dealing with all this stuff, because there's so much promotion that goes into it, and because you can't just play in the basement and call it that. It's like you have to reach out to people. So we were constantly emailing, constantly booking shows, constantly trying to get the music out there, and just got to be too much. And so we said, that's it. We're out. So we quit the band disbanded, and we weren't really doing anything for a few years. And out of the blue, a couple of years ago, I think it was 2011 maybe, Chuck, our current drummer, had reached out to me. We have a similar group of friends. He had reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, I'm thinking about starting a heavy project. Do you have any interest in in jamming? And at first I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to get back into something. I just started going back to school. I'm going to grad school. I don't know if I can handle that, working full time, going to grad school and being in a band. But after a while I said, you know what, I haven't done anything in a really long time, and music has just always been there for me. Let's do it. So I emailed him back and I said, hey, I've got a guitar player, that would be great as well, another guitar player. And he said, yeah, sure. So the three of us got together. We jammed a couple times with a different bass player, and it was pretty cool. And eventually that led to Geen joining the band, and Second Grave just came to be. And it's, it was really, really great. It was, Chuck has always been really professional, so it's really cool to work with him. And we've got a great space, and music just seems to, flow. So it's tough. We don't practice, a ton. We only practice once a week for a couple of hours. So we have to really make those hours count when we're together. Yeah. We figure that after a while, like we can't, and a lot of other bands that we've been with, especially Obsidian Halo, we were practicing 3 nights a week for 2-3 hours each time. So we were writing as a whole band. We'd come down with just a couple of riffs and just jam out on stuff, and that's how stuff developed. And this is a totally different approach in this band, where we have to write everything, really formulate it, and bring it down as a completed piece, and then work on it. Even for Chuck, it really helps if we record it to send him, demos of just us playing, the songs just by ourselves, just with guitar, so that he can get an idea before he, is thrown behind the kit as to what he's going to do. So it's been a different process, and we definitely have to take stock of how little time that we have and just really make that time count. Yeah. So it's it's been, which has been really good, because then I think you see too much of each other, you get sick of each other. So you start nitpicking and fighting and stuff. So
well, and I think in terms of the the live shows and everything that you would never tell that. I mean, you could tell that there's a lot of effort that went into everything. So you really do make those rehearsals. I mean, you guys always sound really together and on stage from what I could, from the times I've seen you.
Thanks.
That means a lot. It does. I know it's, as a creative, it's easy to be melodramatic about everything, right? Yep. And so I'm aware that there's definitely this this space that needs to happen between being subjective and objective, and it should always, giant grain of salt. Yeah. So that's kind of a comfort. I guess that's my point. So there's the hard work does pay off. I guess that's what it is.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask too is, so in the time period between Obsidian Halo and Second Grave, even though you weren't playing in bands, were you guys still just kind of writing and playing guitar? And
no,
not at all.
No, I lost all desire. All my guitars just sat in cases. I wasn't writing anything individually. I really wasn't doing anything. So Second Grave was definitely like a rebirth in that sense, where I finally started playing my guitar again, started writing again, and it was all for that band.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that harkens back to what you said earlier, whereas you said, you go through phases. Mm-hmm. You go for it, you back off, you go for it, but we're still living life. You're still experiencing moments and feelings and vice versa. And for me, I know when I burn myself out playing, whether it be practicing, whether it be playing a lot of shows, whatnot, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, I started realizing I'm still writing inside.
Yeah.
So I'm riff-tastic when it comes down to it. And so it took a couple of years to be, you're like, the riffs are there. They're going to come out. Live life, absorb that, and you're now that tool that brings that out. So you get there. And there's a comfort in that. There's a fucking comfort in that. You're like, I don't have to worry about it. Sure, we have a time limit on everything, but if you're going to make something quality, you don't have to worry about that. It's not happening on a certain level, because you translate that, you transmute it. And as a proficient musician, or I don't call myself any professional musician. I'm a professional AV guy. However, it will always be there, which is like, for me, it was always a comfort. And once I realized that, it really gave me a sense of, I need to reel it in a little. I need to just relax. I need to absorb before I can push it out.
Yeah.
So it's there, and it's a great feeling. It really is, and I think that, I don't know. Well, I'm a little biased, right? Because I just went to school for 5 years for a 2-year degree. Personal goal, night school, 2 classes at a time, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, oh my God, it was a liberal education. Look out, everyone. It's not what it means. Platonic, if you will. And it just keeps you well-rounded, where you can be perceptive to everything. And be able to process it all. And of course that helped, right? Totally worth it. I loved it. But now now that I don't have deadlines, I love to relax.
Yeah.
And that's me, But I think in terms of, as the writing goes, I'm kind of trying to follow where that went, but I just went on a tangent. But as the writing goes, it's good to kind of reel it in and take a step back, because I know it's going to be there. That's my point.
Oh. And so when you guys started doing it, so was there any kind of thought that went into what sound you were going for? I mean, aside from being like heavy, because like you guys bring a lot to the table in some of the songs. You have like the Sabbathy stuff, you have the Maidenish stuff.
Yeah. So when
sidebar, Chuck was the initiator about Warhorse, and then all. Oh
yeah. So Chuck, when Chuck reached out to me, in his head, he had a vision of doing something really doomy, something, super detuned, and something really, really heavy. And for the most part, that's kind of what I've always done, right? So it's kind of what you see is what you get, right? Yeah. I can be versatile when I need to, but if I'm really gonna, show myself, that's kind of just how it's gonna come out. So I was totally down with it. I knew we were gonna do something heavy, and that's just, like I said, what I do. But I wanted to kind of do it a little bit different. I didn't want to be as super detuned, because I love the sound of that, but it's you're kind of limited, and we are metal guitar players too, so we want to be able to play faster and play all these different parts and be able to distinguish everything. So we I didn't want to call it anything when we first got together, because I've done that in the past where I've said, it's going to be this, and then it turns out to be something completely different. So I said, let's get together, let's jam, let's write some stuff, let's see where it goes, and then we can label it what we think it is. And that's just ended up being what happened. Yeah, we got together, and the bass player that we had jammed with the first couple of times, he was really busy doing other stuff, so it just didn't work out with him. And it was a little tough, the three of us, Chuck, myself, and Chris, just trying to, figure out exactly what we were going to do. It was a little slow. It wasn't until Geen joined the band on bass that we kind of then, were a little bit more solid, solidified, and were able to really start writing and defining what this, second grave sound was going to be. So it took a little bit of time to, figure out what that was going to be, but everybody was, cool with it. And we're just doing it because we just love to make music. There's, there's nothing aside from that, just we love making music that we want to listen to, and we have a great time doing it. So it just sort of shaped into what it does. And we didn't want to put restrictions on it, because, we weren't sure where we were going to go. Geen wrote Mourning Light, came down with that, and it was definitely a departure from what we were doing. Yeah. It's very like, new wave of British heavy metal. But I said, I grew up listening to that stuff. I'm totally down for it. We weren't sure how Chuck was gonna, take it, but he dug it too. So, we wrote this song, and it's very different from the other stuff that we have, but we said, you know what, that's what's so great about this band is that we if you bring something down that's a little different, we don't say no, we can't do that. It has to be, fit within this nice little box that we've made for ourselves. It's like, hey, why not try it? If it sucks, whatever, we won't play it anymore. But if it's cool, then maybe people will dig it and it'll become part of helping to shape the Second Grave sound. So, and I also love the idea of always being constantly able to evolve so that you're not getting very stagnant, with the same thing. And all four of us, Geen and now Mourning, who's recently joined us on bass, we all have very diverse musical backgrounds and we listen to a lot of different stuff. Mm-hmm. So all of that comes into play when we're writing and arranging and, working on new stuff. So nothing's off the table.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do a folk album. I don't know.
But also at the time that you guys came together, I mean, I felt like that was kind of in the middle of a lot of the kind of doom revival. Would you agree with that?
Definitely.
It's like, you had
definitely.
And so
what a treat,
Yeah.
It was cool. It was cool. It's just when you're inundated with so many bands. Kind of coming back, you have to do something kind of set yourself apart, which I thought you did, listening to
I don't think it was, but it wasn't a conscious effort to do that.
Yeah.
We always say, like, if Warhorse was still together now, the original Warhorse, are you kidding me? Yeah, you'd be in Glastonbury.
Well, I mean, they did extremely, but they did extremely well after I left.
Well, but not
so
even
in the second and the third iteration,
the next Roadburn's where?
It's in Norway.
It's in Norway, right?
Yeah.
You'd be High on Fire or whatever would be opening
if we could have kept it together.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. My old band is playing Roadburn this year. The band I quit in 2006. I saw that. I was
like, you know what? It's always possible.
But definitely when I was in Warhorse way back when, there was no doom scene.
Right, yeah.
There was hardly anybody doing this style of music.
Tune Z.
And we would play shows and we'd be put on bills with bands that sounded absolutely nothing like us at all. And people were just kind of scratching their heads. They didn't know what to make of us. You'll see a lot of bands doing this nowadays, but in true doom fashion, we wrote a 45-minute song once.
Years ago.
Now Chris is dating us. But we wrote one song, and it was 45 minutes long, and I only sang at the very last 2 minutes of the whole entire song. So I remember playing at the Lucky Dog. I think it was in Sir Morgan's Cove at that time. And we play the show, and we get off stage, and this guy comes running up to me, and he's like, "Wow, you guys were really awesome. You're really great, but you need a singer." And I'm a singer, and I'd left it, and I said, "Wait, no, I was singing." And he said, he looked at me really confused. I said, "I just sang at the end of the song." And he said, "What do you mean at the end of the song?" I said, "That was one song." And he did not know how to respond to that. I think he just kind of walked away and was like, okay, but so, but there was no scene back then. So I look back as to, like who we played with, old show flyers and stuff. And there was just no scene. And so what was really refreshing was getting back into this and playing this specific style of music, seeing that there was a scene.
Hell yeah.
There were other bands that were doing something similar to what we were doing. And people were loving it.
Yeah.
And people got it, and it was just,
it was a conjunction.
Yeah, it was so great. It was so great. Such a great feeling.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And all the bands are good,
Well, I said you came back at the right time too, because, or you came at the right time because, I mean, I really think there's been this kind of resurgence in like the Worcester area metal scene. I mean, I remember seeing that when I first, went to my first Metal Thursday in like 2007, and I was just like, oh, something's going on here. And sure enough, it's like growing, and like, yeah, there's a lot of great bands coming out from all over, and it's more connected now. It used to be Boston and Worcester, but now everybody's just kind of
doing the circuit.
With the influx of the nationals. So there's some national acts coming in, picking up whoever like gravitates. So it's like a fucking solar system.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And we just jumped right into it. And Chuck has been great. What a catalyst. He's so good at talking to people and saying, hey, this is where we're at. We love you guys. we think this will benefit everybody.
Yeah.
And it has, you know.
He handles all of our booking and, you know, a lot of the PR.
We've been
and
fortunate
all that stuff.
enough to have him as a good force to do that, because, I mean, if there's, you know, one of the things he's really good at is just like chatting people up. I'm doing it.
He's really good at selling the band.
Yeah.
But
you have to have somebody doing that. Yeah.
You do. You know, you can be the best band in the world, but if nobody hears you, it
doesn't exist.
That's it. Exactly.
It doesn't exist.
Exactly.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Same with us. Like, we have 1,000 CDs or maybe 700 left, and if no one owns them, then they never heard it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, you know, I was actually thinking about this the other day because I was thinking about a friend of mine who had on the podcast and who's really, you know, I feel bad that he's kind of underappreciated and doesn't really have as much recognition for everything he's done. And I was thinking, well, you know, he's kind of a humble guy, and I think there's a point where some musicians, you know, are afraid to talk about themselves and afraid to self-promote because they don't want to come off sounding like, you know, promotion whores. You know, they don't want to be like, buy my CD, you know. And they want to be like, yeah, well, I'm a musician.
Yep.
You know, I made a song.
Yeah.
And like, but if you don't have some sort of confident, extroverted effort, then nobody knows what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You either have to have some sort of great manager or, you know, PR team or somebody who's doing it for you.
Someone looking out.
Or you've got to do it yourself. And you don't have to be like over the top, you know, just like in people's faces all the time. You can, you know, find a strategy that works where, you know, I know for me, I mean, the people listening, maybe they think we suck. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But I personally don't think that we suck. Hence why I continue to do what I do. So in my eyes, you know, I think that there's a lot of people out there who are going to really dig what we do. And I know we don't suck. Again, there people probably say that we do, but I don't think that we do. So it's okay. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I think that, you know, we have a lot to offer, and, you know, so I'm not gonna, you know, I mean, I definitely love getting compliments. I'd love to hear the feedback from people, and especially people have really great points about, you know, certain stuff. But you know, it's just, I'm losing my train of thought now. I'm getting so excited. I'm talking super fast.
I got you. I got you.
I'm awesome. So awesome. I forgot what I was saying.
You're awesome because you can juggle both things. I'm a creative. Sometimes I'm like, fuck that. I don't even want to deal with talking to people. I'm going to write some tunes. I'm going to make sure it's awesome. I'm going to do counterpoint. I'm going to make sure it's fucking, like, epic. And then sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm not interested. So, yeah. So, to have that driving force that you were speaking of, Greg, oh my God, you have to have it.
You do.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't exist.
But
and then
also,
we go back to that point.
Yeah, but not being so, like, you know, big-headed about it, because there's always going to be somebody, you know, better than me, another band that's better than our band, and somebody who personally is a better singer than me or better guitar player or whatever. But I know that I can hold my own, and so because of that, I'm confident.
Yeah.
So, but it still means a lot to me if people come up to me after our show and are just like, you were so awesome. I really dug it. That means a lot to me, you know, because you know, I'm still human. I want to hear positive.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to hear positive
and
feedback.
Usually you feel worse. Like, I had a bad night and someone comes up to you and says, you know what? That kind of moved me a little bit, right? Like, even if, like, it was the worst night of your life, you know, it means a lot.
Or I'm like, oh, you didn't, you weren't listening close enough. You must have been really drunk, because I messed up a lot.
Yeah, no, that's such a common thing. I mean, people, I think we've all had, like, those really bad gig experiences, and I think the more you have them, the more it's just kind of, you know, I've had so many problems on stage in my life that, you know, I'll get pissed when shit goes wrong, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it sucks in the moment, but, you know, once it's done, it's done. It's like, okay, all right, that could have gone better, but, you know, somebody might not have noticed, like, you know, oh, you hit a D there instead of an E, or something like that. Or, as the case with me, I forgot to check all the levels of my pedal before I started
That
playing.
too, yeah. Oh,
I've done that.
That's a
Not
introduce
check
more
the input
things.
jack. Yeah, I go to take a solo and I step on my step on my delay pedal and silence.
I've got 3. Yeah, I love that one. The old
It's happened to me
silence.
like 3 times.
And
I'm like,
I've
what?
got 3 distortion pedals, so like I gotta get that unity gain across the board.
Yeah.
After I figure out where we're playing,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Or
and then I'm like, you know what? I'm just using one.
Yeah. Or you hit the clean channel switch before.
Oh yeah, here comes the big clean.
Usually I can
Oh,
live.
whoopsie.
Usually
I
I
love
can
it.
live with the mistakes because you're like everyone's gonna eventually forget about it anyway because
Exactly.
there's going to be a lot
Yeah,
more
you play it off.
music afterwards. But when it's recorded, when people have
Yeah,
and posted it on YouTube,
can't
I'm like,
watch
I have to.
myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, this moment is out there for
Yeah, see
everyone to
that-
rewatch. But you know what? You just go with it. You're like, you know what? I'm human. I hit bum notes. Sometimes my
Exactly.
Hey,
my
I'll tell
mind
you,
just
I
wanders
have plenty
and
of Jimi Hendrix recordings where it was not pretty, especially here at Clark University or whatever.
see. So it happens even to the best of us.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it happened. Like, I mean, did you hear the? Have you seen the thing going around, the Courtney Love video? Did you see?
No.
I want to though.
Oh yeah, it's her. I think it's at some show, and they I don't know how real it is. Like, I always approach these with skepticism, but apparently it's someone soloed out her vocal and guitar track from a live performance. Ooh. And it's just like, when you hear the guitar, it's comically bad. It's just like, she's not even close to hitting, like, you know, and then, I mean, the vocals are okay. Like, I mean, the vocals are her. Like, I didn't understand why people are knocking that, but, you know, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe in the grand scheme of things, everything sounded okay. I mean,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
but you isolate one thing, and
Oh
you know,
yeah.
Are you
Oh
kidding
yeah.
me?
Oh, it's awful. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
even
we.
I wouldn't want
Oh yeah,
anyone
in the
to
studio.
do
I
that
mean,
to
you should
me.
if, like we're cringing when we
Yeah.
hear playback. We're like, what happened? You
I
know?
didn't play that.
Yeah.
Or the old,
Is
you're
that how
playing
I
the riff
sound?
wrong. You need to relearn it.
Yeah.
What? I'm playing it backwards all of a sudden. Really? Sounds cool live.
My favorite was I worked really hard on writing a solo for my band and my old band, and I went in there and I recorded it and I played it as good as I could play it. And the guy turned to me and said, "Okay, that's good. Do you want to maybe try playing something that's in the key of the song?"
Whoa.
How about I give you a guitar? I hate that.
Well, it was a light joking atmosphere at that point. And I said, "No, that's the way it's supposed," because he was used to, because he was a normal rock producer. Or, you know, he's used to like 80s rock kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So when we came in with like little weird things, he'd be like, "That doesn't sound like it's supposed to work." But after a while, he just kind of had to trust us that this was our vision for the band. So it was more like the gut thing of like, shouldn't you be playing in like a scale and not just random things? And I was like, no.
Yep.
right. So then when you guys are doing the writing, you know, so is it mainly you two that are bringing in the riffs and the songs? And
Dave wrote a fair amount as well. He would write, you know, solo and kind of come down and bring a whole tune down, and we just work on it. For the other stuff, yeah, it's us. So sometimes I'll write just completely by myself. The newest 2 songs that we're working on right now, I wrote them in their entirety, without, you know, anybody else, and just brought them down to everybody. But the previous song before, you know, Chris had written the majority of it, and then when he and I got together to start working on it, then other parts just started writing themselves. So I really get a lot out of listening to what he's doing, because immediately when he starts playing riffs for me, I know where they need to go.
Okay.
And I know the next part, and it's like it's this really powerful feeling.
It's a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's a really cool, you know, it's a really cool dynamic that happens between the two of us, which is why I can, you know, deal with all the other stuff that happens, because that moment where we're creating something out of nothing is such, and you hit on that thing that is, you know, you start writing it, you can see it starting to come together. It's so exciting, and you're in it, and you just really feel alive. So that'll happen quite a bit between the two of us as well. But it's just kind of like a mix of, you know, all over the place. But it's Chris and I writing a lot of the stuff. Like I said, you know, Geen has written a couple songs, but we'll see going forward, you know, how, if things, you know, the dynamic changes or whatever with the addition of our new bass player, Mourning.
Mo.
And, well, one question I had to ask, too, is, so, do you guys ever get into fights about who's going to do the guitar solos, or does that kind of just come naturally?
Actually, no.
We've been pretty cordial.
Yeah.
I'm ready, like, because, like, you know, everyone knows I'm ready to just rip it up. Like, and everyone gets sick of it real fast.
And sometimes if he doesn't get his way, he'll just start noodling
Yeah,
over it
it'll be
anyway.
my way of, like, you know what? Fuck this. It's Van Halen time. You know, that kind of thing.
Click on the phaser.
Everyone's
blah, blah,
really,
blah.
yeah, oh, yeah, no, the auto-wah phaser delays.
Chuck will say to me, like, what is he doing?
I'm
Like he's
making this
wanking
what it
again.
is, you know, in my head. But generally, we're democratic. There's no money in politics at this level.
Yeah.
So we're
You know, we're not getting paid by the note.
For me,
I know.
my position really is to be basically a rhythm guitar player in this band and just back it up. Whatever's Chris is doing, whatever I'm doing. But I feel like some leads are in order and some ethereal stuff, and then we share solos equally. If she's got 2 or 3 in a row, I don't really care because they're awesome. And if I've got a few, I know they're going to be awesome. And so they're loaded up. You know what I
Not
mean?
shy at all.
You know, and...
I'm just picturing that in your head. You're imagining yourself on a cliff with like the wind blowing in your hair and the guitar up.
Well, you know, I mean, I don't got much, but I do have that. You know,
like the slash image from the November Rain video.
There's been no. I think that's like from the start. There's been no animosity towards.
No. I don't feel like there's any competition.
Like, especially, I think Obsidian Halo was kind of like a starting point for where like we had respective solos that were just so badass, and our styles would be different. Our styles are kind of merged now. It's a little bit.
I'm able to tell the difference though. Like, I mean, I can definitely tell you each have your own kind of vibe that you bring to the solos. I think that's pretty apparent. So, to me at least,
that's good. That's great then. But I think we definitely pull from each other, which kind of makes more for musicianship. So it's cool. But no fighting between that. All day, I'll let you do a whole album if you want. Everyone knows who I
am. You're still getting your name out there. So.
Yeah. No, that's not what I mean. I'm sloppy asshole. But like Jeff Beck, there's some few gems out there. Come on.
Well, it's like for the Halloween show this year, like I'm doing like a Megadeth tribute.
Yes.
Right on.
And
with Jackie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Metal Jackie.
But I'm also doing a Rainbow tribute like 2 nights before.
Yep.
And so when me and the guitar George Lore. So we sat down. I had him come over last weekend. We went through each of the Megadeth tunes and assigned solos. And I said, I go at the end of the day, I'm like, look, I'm not in this to be a guitar hero here. I'm like, you can take as many of these solos as you want. Like, I'm like, I gotta play like Richie Blackmore for a half hour on Thursday, and then I can't be, you can't put Marty Friedman solos on me. I'm like, so it ends up being like I get all the Dave Mustaine solos, and I'm like, sweet. I'm like pentatonic and sloppy. I can do that. Works for me.
That's great.
I've in bands I've been and we've toyed with doing a Megadeth tune, but then I get to hear all the solos. I'm like, I don't know if we can pull that off. It's too much work.
Yeah, like I don't know enough exotic keys to do all those crazy solos. Like,
oh my god, the dude from Judas Priest was amazing last night. The guy
the KK replacement. Yeah.
No. Is it the KK?
Yeah.
I always get mixed up.
Ronnie?
Richie.
Richie.
Amazeballs.
Yeah.
This dude is like, he's
just
got
to
the
preface
leg out,
this,
and he uses only Gibsons, and he shreds like. I can't even describe
Just to
it.
preface this, we went and saw Judas Priest last night at Foxwoods.
Yeah. On the We're Not Quite Retired Yet tour.
Exactly.
Until he covers up his belly with his like glistening shirt, and he's like, "Oh man."
I don't know.
Don't pick on Rob.
I'm not. Much respect. It was badass. He killed it. So
is his
amazing.
voice sounding pretty
yeah.
All right, good.
Spot
Yeah.
on. Oh,
Certain things I know he can't do as well anymore, but he always had that kind of strong, like, even if he can't do the shrieks, he can, like, at least sing really well.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean with the shrieks.
Yep,
but-
he had a lot of stuff.
But
But I was joking because he comes out and he does that whole thing where he gets the crowd to sing back the response. I said to Chris, I'm like, he's just going through vocal warm up.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's getting into cool down phase, so he's what a great way is to get the audience in on it. No one realizes that they're doing his vocal training.
Yeah.
I love it.
You're helping me.
Exactly. Giving me a break.
Yeah. Well, I think Glenn Tipton usually, like, I think there was a certain point in their career where Glenn Tipton kind of took over most of the solos anyway, but from KK Downing, which was, kind of a bummer.
Yeah, because he's very boring to watch. I'm sorry, Glenn.
Are we supposed to be talking about second grade?
Well, no, you can talk
Not
about
a
anything
review.
on here.
If Glenn clicks on this link, then
Yeah.
we have
They're like-
Toms.
He might
They're
send you
like,
a
well,
cease and desist.
we saw this band in second grade, and we are going to ask them to tour with us, but
Yeah.
that fucking asshole said I was boring. Delete.
I'm not going to say anything, but someone was sleeping playing those solos.
Oh,
Hey! They were perfect.
Anyway. All right, so one other thing I was going to ask too, so when you are doing when you're recording your albums and things, do you do the whole, it sounds to me like you record live, like the main instruments live. Is that the case, or do you do like the overdubs?
we do drums and bass live together. And
Okay.
we'll do scratch.
We'll do
scratch guitar tracks.
Okay.
And I actually, the last time we did, I think I sang too, so there's a scratch vocal as well. Yeah, we get rid of it afterwards because the studio that we were going into, it was pretty small, so he didn't have a lot of rooms to do isolation. And we really wanted to concentrate on the guitar tones. So once the bass and drums were all set, then we would, rig up the amps and figure out what we were going to use and get the tone and then just start doing it. So it was actually a lot of work for Chris and I because we would do 2 separate tracks, each of us, with the same cab, but just swapping out the heads. So you're playing all those songs twice.
Yeah.
Making sure you play them perfectly. We definitely punch in. You just have to. It's impossible to get a totally clean.
It's like a super
take.
chorus thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the concept of recording one guitar twice with 2 different tracks, but with 2 guitar players, and then 2 solos on top of that, 2 solo tracks on top of that. So that was 2 days for 4 songs. Probably.
Yeah. And then the same for
and that was
Antithesis.
rough. That was definitely rough because everyone's got the nuances, and we don't play to a click track. I mean, our stuff isn't basketballs off the window kind of sounding, click drum, whatever. So it's more, feeling, and we're stuck with that feeling, whatever it is that happens between bass and drums, which is always awesome, but we have to adapt to it.
Yeah.
And during recording, and twice, each of us, and
well, because I could kind of hear when I was, because at the beginning of Mountains of Madness, when you can hear when Gein's doing the bass line, you can hear like his bass sound making the cymbals and the snare.
So that's a trick.
Oh,
that's a studio trick.
I
just divulged it.
Clay's not working anymore. So. Sorry, Clay. You're awesome, buddy. I love you.
Yeah, he actually had I think he had the Gein's bass sound recorded going through the mics or something in the room.
To shake the drums.
And he went in and turned on the snare and then just recorded just that sound. So it gave the illusion. I mean, it was live, but they were in separate rooms.
Okay,
the drums were isolated from the bass. But he went back and added that. So.
Oh, ruining the mystery.
Oh, you guys are not nearly as cool as I am.
Anyways,
that's like when I heard that Kiss Alive they had pumped in Cheers.
I know. Oh, disaster.
No, actually, no, it wasn't that bad. No.
Okay, good.
No. All right, so now. So what are the plans you guys got going on now? So you're just kind of taking time, getting the new bass player in?
Yeah. So Maureen has been with us for a couple of months now. We were, really working hard to get her up to speed on the existing tunes. We had a couple of shows lined up. But we've got no shows lined up right now, and we're actually super excited because we are all like sick of playing these songs. So we're very fired up for like the new material. So we have one new song that we did play. We actually had played that. We wrote that a while ago, so we played that in January at the CD release part or the vinyl release party, and we have bringing that back into rotation again. But we have 2 new songs that we're working on as well. So we're hoping to. Be able to record a full length, hopefully be able to, finish writing soon and go into the studio. We were originally thinking it would be fall. Now we're thinking it's probably going to be more like winter, and, life just happens. Stuff happens, and Chuck just got a new job. So sometimes it's tough. We have to reschedule practice. And so, we just doing what we can. But, stuff is still there. We're still super fired up about the band. We love the direction, the new songs are taking, and really enjoy, working with Maureen. It's been really cool. We were really sad when, David said to us that he was going to be leaving. We knew for a while that he was going to be leaving. And actually, when he joined the band, he had said, at some point I'm going to be moving out to LA. We were like, yeah, whatever, probably not, But we always did know. We just weren't sure when. So, we were really sad when he left. He was a, great musician, great part of Second Grave, and a friend. He became a really good friend, So we were sad. But, things keep going. We still stay in touch with him, and things have been really great with Maureen. It's, she's been really awesome. She's a really chill player, really great, really open to a lot of stuff. So we're just enjoying, crafting the next phase of the band with her and writing more stuff. And so hopefully, 2015, we were hoping it would be 2014, but now it'll most likely be 2015 that we'll, be able to get back in the studio and record hopefully a full length. So, and then we'll, start shopping and see if anybody's interested in working with us.
Yeah, I mean, because you're like a lot of people I interview on this. You're, doing this all yourself. Like you're releasing, you're, recording and releasing yourselves, and it's kind of the norm now, I think.
Oh yeah. We did have with Antithesis. We did have somebody who put that out for us. So Pariah Child, Danny Angus, who's actually in Ireland. He, I've known him for years. And he, when he had found out that I had started up a new project, he'd reached out to me to see if I was interested in, working with him to put something out. And initially, we were going to try to do a 12-inch split with another band, but that sort of fell through. And he said, well, even though the other band, it just fell through with them, like, I'd still love to put something out, for you guys. Would you consider, putting the 2 tracks that you shared with me on a 10-inch? And we said, yeah, sure. So he actually released those 2 tracks for us on vinyl, had all the vinyl done over in Europe, and then sent us, a small portion of them for ourselves. And so he's been really great sending out, stuff, definitely doing the international thing for us to get some, more reviews and more awareness of the band. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it also helps. I think people don't pay as much attention if you're like, oh, hi, I'm the guitar player or singer in this band and here's my stuff, you should review it. I think they pay more attention when it's like someone else recommending you to them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that's that's what I encountered. I mean, because I've got 600-700 CDs in my basement.
Yeah.
It's complete racism.
Racism.
Seriously, bias.
It is.
It makes sense though. It makes sense. So
it definitely
anything helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Definitely helps. And we've talked about the possibility of hiring a PR firm to help us get some reviews in some of the bigger magazines as well. But it's just it's you're funding this yourself, so you've got limited funds, and if you've paying for recording yourself and possibly paying to put out. Chris just stepped out, literally. When you're footing the bill for everything yourself, you got to pick and choose what you're going to spend the money on. Because anybody who doesn't do this doesn't really understand what it's like. And no fault to them. I'm definitely not not annoyed by anybody who doesn't play in a band or doesn't understand all the things, and they seem to think that you make tons of money and it's like this big thing and somebody else is footing the bill for stuff, and that's definitely not how it goes.
And people don't really understand sometimes when especially now because music's been kind of devalued.
Oh yeah.
It's people hear a song and they think, oh, that song is 99 cents or free.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, maybe. But but that cost me a couple $1,000.
Yeah, and I'm not going to recoup that.
To make and press that.
Yeah. That's basically just we went into this how much money are we willing to put in ourselves because we're not going to get it back.
Exactly. But you can't expect that.
No. But you do this because you love it. You love to be able to make music. You love to be able to share it with people.
Right.
And you hope that at least maybe you'll sell a few things just to make it worthwhile, to make you feel like you are doing something, even though it all just everything that we make goes right back into the band fund. It started out with all of us ponying up and putting in our share of recording and that sort of stuff, and then just try to be strategic about playing shows and hopefully sell merchandise and stuff. And so then we hope to get to the point where the band is self-sufficient, because it's still not there.
Yeah.
We're still pecking up the the slack and stuff, but this is what we love to do. So it's because of that we'll keep doing it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And it's funny when you bring up the PR firms too, because I remember having a conversation with somebody where I was talking about Profound Lore Records, and I was like, I'm looking at these, metal, top metal releases of the year list, and it's all these Profound Lore guys. I mean, what's going on? And someone told me, he's like, what you don't see or you don't get is that the guy who runs that label has been doing this for 10 years, and over that 10 years has developed and built these kind of press relationships. So when he sends people CDs, people get noticed. His people will get noticed over, some other X, Y, and Z label. And, so at the end of the day, the bands are good and there are, people doing really good stuff. But at the end of the day, your music doesn't really, the way you sound doesn't make as much of a difference as who you know. And
take it easy.
So what you aren't seeing is there's a giant ottoman that Chris has to keep climbing over.
It's green. And it looks like a guacamole. Sorry.
No, it definitely, you're right. That's what it comes down to. And it's, it's sad that, but it's a business. You have to look at it as, it's a business. So that's an important part of it as well. So Chuck has been really great because he's been the one who's been sending out emails, just reaching out to people to try to get them interested, and and we've been successful to a certain extent, getting reviews and stuff. He's also not afraid to ask, reach out to other bands and say, hey, how did this work for you? Like, do you have any advice for us? And you know, everybody's been there. We're all doing this. Nobody's really making enough money to live off of this, you know. So everybody's been really great, and everyone's willing to talk to you. And they're like, well, you know, PR. Yeah. Got to pay for a PR firm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, nobody really knows what to do. I've come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Because one person does something and it works really well.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, that person did it. I should do it. And then you do it, and it's just like,
Exactly. You got to just try, you know, play the field, see what works for you. You're right. It's not the same exact thing working for everybody. That's why there's so many different labels, you know. Yeah. And some people work well on one label, but not so much on another.
But I think, in spite of all that, I think you guys really have built kind of a cool reputation and name for yourself over the last couple years. I mean, you know, your shows always seem to be pretty well attended, and you've gotten to, you know, get on some really cool shows. You know, some like the Castle shows, like, you know, they're coming around, and really, you know, I think, you know, you're like, people know, you know, you book Second Grave, and they're gonna A, draw people, and B, do a really good show. So.
That's what we hope. Although it's tough on a Sunday night. You know, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
But actually, Chuck was the one who was really instrumental in getting us hooked up with the Witch Mountain and the Castle the first time they came through, and we became friends with Matt and Liz from Castle. And so the next time they came through, it was like a month or two later on their own tour. They specifically were like, yeah, we want Second Grave to play with us. Cool. So it's definitely about, you know, networking, making connections, but making friendships as well. Those guys are so awesome. You know, I love the music, love them personally as people.
Yeah, they're really genuine. When you look at, you know, when they see us, and like, you know, we thought like they've been so busy touring like crazy forever, and they came back and they're like, it's good to see you. Just as a person, you know, regardless of whatever they think we're at. Because hell yeah, their new shit is amazing. And Matt Castle, props, man. You've been killing it on that guitar, and it's been showing. Oh my god, like I can't like say enough good things about them. and Liz too, and it's just awesome. So
yeah, well, the scene too. I mean, because I think for the longest time I was very introverted in the Worcester metal scene. Like, I'd go to shows, like we played a couple, but I didn't really know anybody.
Yeah.
But as I started to like meet more people, it's like such a cool. I think I talked about this before. I mean, it's just like everybody is you know, really cool with each other, and I've gotten a chance to meet a lot of cool people through it.
Yep.
And you know, so I enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, and
we definitely really enjoy meeting all the different people that we've played with and playing on different bills, and we've been really fortunate. We've played a lot of really great bills. Yeah. As well.
Now, do you guys have any plans? I know you're not really gigging at the moment, but I mean, do you have aspirations to kind of go out and like maybe do like a tour here and there, like maybe like a week long or a 2 week long tour?
Yeah, we've talked about doing that. It's a little tough because we all do hold, you know, professional daytime jobs. It's kind of the only way that you can, you know, you can do this. Yeah,
vacation time.
Exactly. So we do get some vacation time. Yeah. I need a vacation for the vacation.
Yeah. Sounds like mine. I have kids.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
But yeah, we would love to play. We would love to play. I know. Who's gonna get on me? It's a great sound for my voice. Hang on.
Good job. That's perfect. I love it. Wish I could.
Yeah, we've talked about doing the United States, probably just like an East Coast thing.
Yeah.
And we tried to last year in November. We played at the Stoner Hands of Doom festival down in Virginia, and we were trying to do like a mini tour based around that. So we were trying to play like New York, maybe Philly, and we had a New York night gig. We couldn't get anything in Philly, and then the New York thing fell through, and then it ended up just being the one show. So it was kind of a bummer because, you know, we were trying to make something a little bit more out of it, but at the same time it was, you know, it was a lot of fun. We met a lot of people.
Yeah.
We had a great response. We played really well. And it was a cool time, and it was a nice time because we got to bond as a band. You know, driving all those many hours.
Yeah.
And
there's actually a couple of great stories from that. Number one is there's a really good video of us playing that show. We had a lot of energy in that show. And number two is the fact that there's a great fucking story behind it. So we ended up in Washington, D.C., and if anyone's familiar with that, you know that there's these row houses, and it's tightly packed, and so Chuck's like, okay, well, all right, I know somebody who lives there. He's not there right now, but he's got a place. He gave me his key, and we can just crash there, bring our gear in, whatever, and it's kind of a halfway point between there and Richmond. All right, sounds good. We drive there, end up there, 2:30 in the morning?
Yeah, it was about
something
that.
like that. And we get there, and okay, so as you can imagine, tightly packed city. We finally found a place, and there's stairs leading down, so it's like
it's
a
a
dungeon,
basement apartment.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And we didn't want to leave any of the gear in the car.
No, so cabs,
No
heads,
cabs.
road
No
cases.
cabs.
No cabs.
No
left?
cabs.
It was road cases.
It was
and
just
stuff?
heads. Just
Yeah.
heads, guitars, and
Right.
overnight
Yeah,
bags.
because who in their
that
right
sort of stuff.
mind wants to lift a heavy
Yeah,
cab to
Exactly.
steal
That's
it?
what I always
Exactly.
say. Like,
Yeah.
God bless you if you're gonna steal a Mesa
Yeah.
cab.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same
Take
here.
it.
Yeah,
I'll
that's what I
get
meant.
another
That's what
one.
I'm
Thank
used
you.
to.
Yeah.
Thank you for stealing that, because I'll finally get a
lighter
an
2x12.
Emperor.
Yeah, 212.
212.
Grandma have an excuse.
Yeah.
At least two of them, right? And then, all right, so we get there, blah, 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 and, all right, so everyone's tired as shit. Gear's inside. All right, we have to wake up when? 10 o'clock in the morning, so we got some sleep ahead of us. We're totally psyched. It's... What time? Was it March or something?
It was November.
It was November.
It was November, so it was a little
right.
chilly out.
It was chilly. It was just
Yeah.
starting to get cold. We get in there. No heat's working. We didn't know. We get into our sleeping positions. There's Dean sleeping on the ground. We got Chuck sleeping on a couch, I think.
Yeah.
And then Chris and I are in some weird bedroom. With like socks and shit everywhere. All of a sudden, like, I don't know, we were wiped out, so we all passed out. I don't know, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours later,
Yeah.
I wake up. What the fuck is going on? We almost died, all of us. It was like 20
He's
below.
exaggerating just a little.
It was fucked up. Like, everyone
It
was...
was cold.
I like stumble towards the bathroom. I'm going in, and I see... I'm looking at... Gein's like a little elf sleeping on the thing. He could care less. Like, Chuck is shaking on the couch. I'm banging on the walls. Everybody wake the fuck up. What is going on? And
Why is it so cold?
Yeah, and what was it? We didn't turn the heat on?
So Chris is like, "Why is it so cold in here?" And Game points at the thermostat. He goes, "Oh, you could probably turn that on."
No, there was something else to it. I'm telling you, there was something else to it. Like, we tried to, or
No, nobody thought. No, because we were so tired from driving
Yeah.
from Worcester
Yeah,
to
yeah.
DC.
Oh,
And it's,
man.
2 o'clock in the morning, and then it's cold out. We're lugging, we're running in all of our
I'm telling
gear
you, there's fucking
downstairs.
frost on our beers.
So,
and shit.
and we know we've got this big show the next day, so we've got to get some sleep, and so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
None
no
of us
one's
are eating right.
no one's thinking about it. Of course, Chuck's friend shut the heat off. He was gone.
Yeah. Why would he?
And I'll
he went
tell you
away
what,
for the weekend.
The
Why would he
only
heat
fucking
it?
thing that woke me up, not my fucking brain trying to make me survive the cold. It was toast. The smell of toast from the fucking people above us. I wake up and like, there's toast. There's toast. and she's like, yeah, I know, I smell toast. Brr! I'm fucking cold. And then, hence the whole deal. So we got out of there quick.
Yeah.
We were gone real fast.
That reminds me of like when my band we were playing once, and we were out on the West Coast, and we decided it'd be a great idea to go camping, and so we went to go camping in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and so at the time, we had a fire going and it was fine, blah blah blah. So then we go to try to sleep at night, and I didn't have a tent, I didn't have a air mattress. I slept on the ground with a blanket, freezing my ass off, and so I was like, I put my a sweatshirt on, I put a leather jacket on, and, I'm just like curled up like freezing. So I have to go into the band van turn it on every half hour or so just to let the heat run, then turn it off so I don't waste gas.
You sleep in the van. What's wrong with you?
Well, I did. That was the thing. Like, I eventually moved to the van, and then so eventually I was fine. I went to the back of the van and I was sleeping. It was all nice and good, but the curse of the desert is that it's freezing at night, super hot during the day. So 10 o'clock rolls around. The 90-degree sun is beaming in on me in all my clothes, and I couldn't get out of my clothes fast. And I'm being like, I'm melting.
Yeah,
like a magnifying glass. Oh man,
the beauty of the desert.
Fucking rough.
yeah. That was the first.
There's not enough acid in the world to get through that fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Hot and cold. That's nuts.
Well, see, I don't think I had any other questions for you guys, but that was cool. Thank you for taking the time. Man. This was really cool.
Thanks for having us.
That was badass.
And we'll have to have you on again after. I say we all the time of the podcast. It's just me, the royal we.
I've heard of some interest in interns. You could probably beat up.
I need one.
Get some coffee. And
yeah, I need an intern to sort through all my sound files. Because I'm notorious for mislabeling Pro Tools
Hear
sessions.
that, everyone. Intern, Second Grave Land. Move it on over.
Yeah. Someone who can go through my old 4-track tapes.
Hey, you know what?
Because
Times is hard.
I never labeled them.
Times is hard.
There's probably somebody out there who will do it.
Yeah, exactly. I need you to digitize all my tapes. And
Okay, how much you paying?
let's see, the budget for this show is 0, so
60.
What's 20%?
You
of
pay
0?
me $20 a week.
Yeah,
and I will let you.
Yeah,
Life wisdom.
yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
Right
thank you. This was really fun.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.